15 Champions League for Real Madrid, no doubt about it. They started out slow. They ended up going in the second half. There's a lot of things to delve into in a match that at first they kind of had some problems kind of feeling their way into this encounter. They found a lot of issues, a lot of obstacles. Give a lot of credit to Borussia Dortmund for mapping out a plan to neutralize Real Madrid. When the center backs had the ball, they pressed everything in the middle. They were forcing Madrid to do things that they were not accustomed to doing. They were forcing Madrid to do things they didn't want to do and have players transporting the ball they didn't want to transport depending on the sector of the pitch that they had. So great work by Borussia Dortmund early on. Now, Rierson played phenomenally. And of course, I'm rattling this off as I just got off of Champions League studio over in the Caribbean with Sports Max. As I said before, what players make the difference? Who are the outliers? We knew exactly that Bellingham, we knew Vinicius Jr., something was going to be demanded upon him. Obviously, Vinicius Jr. basically locking up. Everything was done after his goal. Scoring again in a Champions League final, second time in a row for him. Scored the game winner against Liverpool just 2 years ago. So, who ends up being that player? I told you, Danny Carvajal. Carvajal had some moments. Now, did I expect it off a corner? No, but what Carvajal has always done well throughout his career, that route, that run to the near post where he's capable of going back into creating some mismatches and then flicking it back in towards the middle. Well, he flicks it into the back of the net this time around, and that's where Real Madrid really started taking off. They really went and started doing what they had to do. They were a team that slowly were wearing Dortmund down. Julian Brandt in the second half didn't have the effectiveness that he had early on. And I even had it in my notes at one point when I'm saying no one can have a reference on Brandt and on Sabitzer as well, because especially Brandt in the offensive area, he was able to pick spots, pick areas where he could run to, where he could stop, where he could find himself, and nobody was keeping tabs on him, or it was very difficult for them to. Dortmund gave just fits to Real Madrid in transition. Everything that I'm saying now, every single thing that I'm saying doesn't matter because they weren't able to score, and goals that you do not score get scored on you. That's basically an old football adage. If you don't score, if you're going through a good run of form and you don't put the ball in the back of the net, you're susceptible to whatever destiny ends up. Now, you can't talk about reffing today. You can't talk about VAR. You can't talk about anything because nothing happened that ends up being controversial. Nothing absolutely ends up being or falling into that particular category. Madrid just understood, and they understand, and they've always had that understanding that you have to, as a team, you have to know how to weather the storm. You have to know how to overcome certain dips in form. Whenever whenever a boxer is up against the ropes in the corner, he has to know how to defend himself. He has to know how to fend the punches, how to fend the blows that can bring them down, and they found that way. Whether it was by being at the right place at the right time or having a little bit of providence, having a bit of good fortune, a ball that hits the post, a ball that just scrapes wide, those types of things, yeah, that's a factor as well. But as I've always said before, you make your own luck. You make your own luck. You end up creating situations for yourself. If you shoot, something's going to go in. Doesn't matter how bad you are, eventually something will go in, or something bounces off of someone and it goes in. But you have to go. You have to shoot your way in. You have to shoot your way out, and vice versa. You have to defend your way in. You have to defend your way out. You have to do that. All of these things, you have to dive in front of the ball. You have to do that little extra. Because that little extra is the difference between that ball deflecting properly or not, or the ball going through cleanly. I don't know. But you make your own luck individually, as a player, as a team, as a culture. You make your own luck. Real Madrid did that tonight. Yeah, did the ball hit a post? Yeah. It doesn't take anything away from Dortmund. It just adds more to what Real Madrid were capable of doing. Because going into the second half, before the goal, you saw Madrid starting to come and grow into the game. You saw Vinicius Jr. begin to take on he started to put on the cape, and you saw him beginning to say, give me the ball. Bellingham, maybe not his best game, but he did enough to accompany that. Of course, assists Vinny Jr. in his goal. Like I said, Carvajal. At one point, Carvajal was just getting smoked. I mean, he was getting torched by Adeyemi down the right side of Real Madrid's defense. Just getting torched. It looked like times he was running in slow motion. When you started seeing Adeyemi just breeze right by him. Adeyemi missed a great opportunity. Ball that comes in, he takes the ball on, is able to go around Courtois, but the ball just goes too wide. The angles and, pretty much impossible to do anything with it. Little details, and you saw it on social media, even when we were talking over on Sportsmax about it. You see? Things weren't going well, but at times you said, Real Madrid's going to win this. And they were playing horrible. They weren't. First half, they played absolutely poor. So let's keep things honest. If Dortmund were to win this match, they would have won it fair and square. They would have won it justifiably. But you have to bring Real Madrid down. You have to put them down. You cannot allow them to have a shot. You can't allow them to breathe. You can't allow them to get back up. Because once you do, you're toast. Very few teams can see them get back up and knock them back down again. Very few. Well, nobody did this season. So that's what it is. Valverde, to me, man of the match of the first half. Started kind of diminishing as the game went on. The man of the match to me happened to be Vinicius because of the second half he had. Bellingham, yeah, okay, fine. Bellingham had a poor match, but he did enough in other facets. He did enough and helped defending. When a good player knows it's not his night, he finds ways to contribute and he finds ways to pitch in. Whether it's defending better, whether it's playing out better, whether it's assisting, whether it's finding the pass, whether it's making the run that takes on defenders. Those types of things. A player that is good finds a way to contribute. Now, you might, for those of you that only look at the stats, that, no. You start looking at what he did. He contributed. Now, like I said before, was it his best game? No, it wasn't. And he hasn't had a good game in recent weeks. And there have been struggles for Real Madrid, although, am I going to say struggles after they won a league title and basically they were just running out the calendar? No, I can't say that either. So that ends up being unfair. Courtois was basically the only doubt that I had in terms of what he was going to do or what he could do in terms of this final. But he pretty much silenced me. I mean, he had some great saves in the first half. He had a couple important ones too in the second. So, like I said, it's not a knock on him. His resume gives me everything. Yet another Champions League that he wins. And, hey, you know what? Quiet. He's like, what do you mean I can't start? Of course, here you go. Yeah, totally right. Tremendous performance. Andre Lunin was sick. He comes in. Actually, Lunin came to London, I think 2 hours before kickoff, 2.5 hours before kickoff. He's on the bench. Of course, he didn't fly with the team because he, of course, had the flu. Didn't want to start spreading it around, but he's there, and he did he made his contribution well known throughout the season. So, Thibaut Courtois only played 5. Today was his 6th match of the season. So what he did today was astounding. Props to him. Overall, Real Madrid did what Real Madrid usually do. Maybe it's not, for the neutral, maybe it's not the most aesthetically pleasing. It's not the most footballing in terms of beauty, in terms of footballing aspects is concerned. Maybe it's not. Probably at times it is not. But there is this aura of invincibility when it's scoreless, or even if it's 1-0, they're behind. There's still this aura of invincibility that they have, And I sound like a fan, but it's reality. It's the truth. It's the way that teams start to comport themselves at that stage of the match. Okay, well, we're running out of gas. Keep in mind that the effort that Dortmund put in was, extraordinary what they were able to do. But they were wearing down come the 67th minute, 70th minute of play. Marco Reus comes in. Yeah, okay, but defensively, they were starting to find some holes. They were starting to find some liabilities because fatigue starts to set in. Let's be real. That is exactly what ends up happening. Fatigue set in, a little lapse in concentration. Danny Carvajal makes his run, header, goal. Like I said in my previous video, check it out. I said, look, this game will have certain, supporting role players, I'll call them. I don't remember exactly the term I used during that video, but supporting role. Not the superstars, not the ones that have the spotlight full front and center on them. Those that, have a responsibility, and I think Carvajal does. And he comes in and he does it in a game like this, which is part of Real Madrid as well. We've seen it in the past when certain players step up, when certain players get into a good run of form in a game of this ilk. We've seen it in the past. When the unheralded hero comes in and contributes. Yet again, it happens. Next man up mentality. That's what made this team. Look, in December, November, even in August, you could have made all types of questions. You could have created all types of questions about them. Oh, they don't have a number 9. Keep in mind, who was the player that replaced Benzema? I'll give you about 5 seconds to figure it out. Joselu. He was the number 9 that was supposedly going to come in and replace Karim Benzema. So you're basically playing without a number 9. It's not a knock on Joselu. It's just that there's a significant drop-off from a former Ballon d'Or to Joselu. But he comes in and he steps in. He does. It might have been one moment. It would have been a flash in the pan in a season that's been full of flashes in the pan, but it's one of many flashes in the pan that have led to this moment. And that's what Real Madrid is all about. Yes, the Vinny's, the Bellinghams, Rodrigo, the Modric, the Kroos, the this, but then the Joselu, the Brahim Diaz. Because remember, Brahim Diaz, they're able to advance against RB Leipzig. Who would have known if that goal doesn't go in, where Real Madrid would have been? Because it got hairy towards the end. Lunin, amongst many. You start seeing Nacho move as a central defender. You start seeing all these things that have to happen in order for things to maintain a sense of normalcy, no transfer market. They said, no, we're good. The players that we have are the players that we got. And we're going to go with them the rest of the way. Brave, ballsy to say the least. And it ended up paying dividends. Big dividends so far this year. So again, Real Madrid win the Champions League for a 15th time. We'll be doing a recap of what has been this championship, of course, next week. And all these things that are going on, of course, congratulations to Real Madrid fans. I hope that you enjoy. As now, on Monday, they start getting ready for number 16, which is the way that's their MO under Florentino Perez. Endrick is already on his way. Alphonso Davies most likely is on his way. Kylian Mbappe will be announced as I'm recording this tonight on Saturday, just moments after the final, actually a little less after 45 minutes after the match was over. He should be announced this evening. About what time, I don't know, but there's been reports that he will be announced tonight. And we shall see what ends up playing with Real Madrid next year and how everyone in Europe is going to have to restock and reload to be able to compete with them yet again. Because also, keep in mind, I forgot to mention one thing. They're not also competing for the Champions League. They are also restocking and reloading for the Club World Cup next summer in 2025. Guys, it's been a pleasure. I'll talk to you very soon. Keep in mind, Copa America now is going to be front and center. We'll do some Euro, maybe some Euro content as well, but it'll be focusing on Copa America. we'll be doing a little bit of back and forthing in terms of going to different places and talking about different issues regarding football. It'll be an interesting summer. It'll be an interesting set of topics that we can do. Would like to be able to get to 1,000 by the beginning of Copa America. We'll see if that happens. Would like to, so tell your friends, tell your family, hey, if you're interested in joining in, would be great to have you all on board. As Champions League has come to an end, Real Madrid win their 15th Champions League. We'll see what the new format of the Champions League has, as I'll be on Sportsmax, part of their pundit crew, doing things from Kingston, from Miami, from everywhere. And it'll be a pleasure to be on board yet again for that new incursion. Ladies and gentlemen, until next time, talk to you soon. Ciao.